watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
Good morning, and we are live, back like we never left before. It is another episode of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. Of course, he's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Roger Cador. I'm Perry White, and my man on the board, Garrett Edgerson. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, PJ.
Can't start the week off without being called PJ. And guess what? Got a very special guest this morning here on the show joining us. And Coach, this is someone you know well, and we're glad to have her here on the show this morning. We want to welcome to Chopping It Up with Coach Cador, Miss Lonnie Stewart. Good morning, Miss Stewart.
Lonnie Murray.
Lonnie Sheep Murray.
Oh, don't use this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, excuse me, Miss Murray.
No worries. I take pride in it all. I've been called way worse in this game, so we're good.
So, look, you were actually the first black woman to be certified as a player agent by the MLB Players Association. Talk about being in that type of position, being the first black woman, and then being in a position to, from a color perspective, being able to represent players from all diverse backgrounds.
Oh, that's layered. Okay, where do we go? I might need you to remind me of part of that, but we'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
When I got certified, being a woman, being a black woman were not things at the time that I identified with. Obviously I'm a woman, obviously I'm a black woman, but those were things that I hadn't thought about. I didn't know that there weren't any others at the time. It wasn't until probably 10 years in that I knew. And that was appalling, obviously. And then, as your profile continues to increase, you get other young women from all walks asking how, because even to this day, there's literally less than a handful of us that are representing players on our own. You have other women who are certified, but they work for larger companies, so they're not necessarily out scouting and recruiting their own players or doing their own contracts, whereas I, and like I said, I think of 2 or 3 others in baseball that are actually scouting, recruiting, and negotiating their own contracts. Does it make it difficult? Of course. But I think we all have our difficulties in every profession. And so I don't give myself excuses, but I can definitely identify where gender or race are playing a role in discussions.
Go ahead.
That it can be challenging at times, of course.
Yeah, and one of the things that I saw that Coach and I have this conversation all the time. It says you've been vocal about systemic racism in baseball. And, we have the conversation a lot about, where is the sport going? Does the sport really support the viewership and the ideas of African Americans when it comes to the sport? But from your perspective, when you talk about systemic racism in baseball, what do you see and what have you come across that really has made you vocal about that?
There have been a lot of strides over the last several years. Well, several, really, with the social justice movement has really helped to open the eyes of a lot of people. And so I am proud of a lot of the changes that have been made, but we obviously have more to go to that end. When you talk about we can all remember just a couple years ago when bat flips or any type of personality on the field or demonstration of athleticism or the way that different cultures celebrate was fined. Those, when you're fining people for showing enthusiasm over the game, but then when you look at who and what they look like and who's actually incurring those penalties, it's those sorts of things that I really think highlight some some of the barriers. Even now, we're just now getting back into a base stealing sort of game, kind of, the things that highlight the athleticism of the player, and those are things that we can all really identify. But behind the scenes, when you have, and excuse me, but this is where I get a little rowdy.
Come on with it.
Yeah, we have systemic barriers as it relates to our kids getting into college, getting into D1 institutions where they're more heavily scouted and more highly paid. Okay, so if we have issue getting into D1 institutions, not because we're not qualified, but with only 11 scholarships and none of them being 100%, then how do we pick up the difference? And if, 70+% of major league players come from D1 institutions, well, isn't that a systemic barrier? And if that's the way that the game is trending, which we have seen until, the last 2 years? In the last 2 years, we have seen a little bit of an uptick in going back to the high school player. But how many years are those kids given? What type of development, opportunities are they being given? I've got a couple kids right now that are incredibly athletic that came out of high school. I can't find them winter ball opportunities because even winter ball, over in Mexico or the DR, they want guys who have more playing time. They want, AA prospects, in AAA or, new rookies. And, it used to be before that we'd spend more time developing our kids, knowing that there was more athleticism because we do start playing later. Our opportunities for playing, for our young men to play in our communities, it doesn't happen against tougher competition. We're playing against each other.
And
so all of those sorts of things, inhibit development. And if the pathway to development is, if you're given a shorter leash these days, which, yes, because, again, we're going after more college players versus high school players, then we're losing. And our numbers are continuing to decrease.
And
Coach,
I'm
you want to get in on this?
Yeah, and me being on, Bud Selig put me on his diversity committee. I was able to be in the room when it was discussed why, if you sign as an American kid, you only got 2 years to produce, or you're probably going to be released or cut. You got me? Where
Absolutely.
If you're a Hispanic kid, they can sign you at 16. You got 2 years. They could keep you in the Dominican. And then you have 2 additional years you could bring here and develop. So that's 4 years that you can develop the Latin American kids, where the American kids only have 2. So we could see now why they're going more to the college kids, because they're getting a more developed kid, first of all. And second, they know the window is a short opportunities. It's a short window, Either you make it in a couple of years or it's all over with. And as it relates to that 11.7 scholarship, I haven't been a D1 coach and had to live with it. 2 things have to happen for a kid, the African-American kids, to go at a good D1 school. Either you have to be a Pell Grant qualifier. You have to be poor and get some scholarship money and get the Pell Grant. Or your parents have to be well-to-do and they could pay the balance that is owed. Middle-class parents can't send their kids to school and do that. It's a difficult task for them. So it's a really difficult situation if you're a middle-class parent.
Absolutely.
Talk about you being representing as an agent, and you do work as well as with guys playing in the minor league. What is the difference when you talk about representing the guys that's on the big stage and then representing the guy that's on the minor league for a lot of people out there that may not understand how big of a world of a difference it is?
Oh, Lordy. Well, it depends on the player.
Yeah.
I've got minor league. I've got some big league players that have a better attitude than some minor league players. Wow. When you have, you can have a minor league player who just thinks that the world is owed to him, that he's supposed, despite the $2,500 cap on the amount of equipment that you can get a kid, he thinks that you're supposed to go under the table and get him $5,000 or $10,000 worth of equipment because he's special. And unfortunately, you have larger agencies that do dole out that, buy players. They do spend that extra money, but it's not because they give a damn. And that's the difference in how I approach things. I make it very clear. I'm in with you until the wheels fall off. And, for me, it has to be about the person versus how much money they're going to make me. If I approach it from that perspective, then the life that I breathe into a young man helps him to achieve more success. Do you understand what I mean there? Mm-hmm. It's like having that extra support that says when things get tough and a guy's not performing, and we all know that most of the time guys will undoubtedly experience some level of failure. So what happens if the support under you fails? Then you wallow in it and you continue to fail. But if you're with somebody that breathes life into you and continues to believe in you and highlights your strengths or knows you well enough to be able to pull you out of those difficult times, then you're getting back up on top.
Yeah,
I got a perfect example, Samad Taylor, which addresses some of what we were just talking about. Samad was a kid that came out of high school, no college scholarship, and just an incredible athlete, but came in the game at a time that they were still working on developing guys. In today's game, Samad Taylor doesn't make it to the big leagues.
That's right.
But Samad's agent at the time, he stopped paying attention to him. Samad was struggling, but what the agent missed is that Samad was struggling with the system. Mm-hmm. Samad was struggling with not seeing other guys that look or talk like him. You see? Latin guys have more support in the locker room than brothers do.
There's more of them.
So, absolutely, which is fine,
yes.
But for guys like Samad, where you've got this incredible athleticism, incredible ability, they need representation that helps them to understand the game within the game. And unfortunately, a lot of times with these larger agencies, that does not happen.
And Lonnie, I think the value you bring to the table is that you bring the woman, but the mother figure. You understand some things that a lot of men don't understand about kids. They all want them to go, go, go. Well, sometime when a kid is struggling, he needs to have someone to show some love to him, some compassion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the aspects that you bring to the table that makes you so valuable in this profession. And you're dealing with a game that's loaded with failure anyway.
Yes, yes. Well, and what's funny is that if a couple guys heard you say that, they'd be like, compassion?
Yeah, that's where you kind of got to draw the line, And I can recall, like, when you said that, and you said, getting kind of forgotten, all I can think about is the movie Jerry Maguire. You ever seen the movie Jerry Maguire? Show me the money. That's all.
Yes.
That's all I can think about. But you're right. When you talk about dealing, especially big agencies, you can kind of fall down the totem pole and not be so quite high on the priority list and getting forgot about. And I think that's why it's good to have women like yourself in the world of being an agent and representing guys. Because I also see you represent Bianca Smith, who's the first black woman to coach professional baseball, and having her in that arena. Talk about being able to represent her, and then both you being able to be in position as women and black women to be able to be in a field that's just pretty much dominated by white males.
Oh, well, Bianca is such a gem. We're talking about a sister that also has her law degree. We're talking about, a sister that is just incredibly brilliant with an incredible mind for the game and a passion. This is somebody who, when she got over to the Red Sox a couple of years ago and she became one of the hitting coaches, it was, I want to see what it looks like to be in the box. I can't coach you if I haven't seen what 100 miles looks like from where you stand. And I don't know many coaches, let alone women, that are doing that. We talked, the industry talked a lot about the Balkovic girl who got hit in the face, but a week before Rachel over the Yankees got hit, Bianca got hit in the face. Bianca had 11 stitches. Rachel didn't. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Bianca didn't go home. Bianca stayed for the game. Bianca was like, I'm not leaving my team. When Bianca went to the hospital, they told her that she needed to stay home a couple days. Bianca didn't stay home a couple days. Not because she knew that the roles needed to be different and that the perception would be different, but she knew it's her passion for being there for her players and for her team. That's the difference. But at the same time, Bianca is now coaching in Japan. Bianca is not here anymore. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Bianca learned a really hard lesson. And, this hasn't been said publicly. I'm going to just go ahead and say it, and anybody can get mad if they want to. Bianca went in with a trusting heart. And when her management, when certain individuals above her were telling her that she went above and beyond in her duties, and I know her to be that, okay? She was going above and beyond, and like the example that I just gave you, okay? When contract time came up, her supervisor was the one telling her, you shouldn't re-sign under the same terms. You're so much better than this. I can't believe that they're going to continue leaving you down here, meaning over in the GCL, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So she tells the team, why aren't I extended an opportunity at a full season team, which is where she wanted to be. Bianca wants to be the first female manager, okay? They told her that they did not feel that she had met the bar to move up, essentially, okay, that she had not gone above and beyond. So when I called and I talked to somebody that I trust over there, turns out the same guy that was telling Bianca that you went above and beyond in your duties was dogging her behind her back.
Oh, my.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine having to go back to Bianca and tell her that this guy that she trusted in the game was playing her. And I had already tried to talk to Bianca. When I started working with her, I tried to explain these nuances, okay? I tried to explain that the same thing that we all even explain to players, trust nobody, right?
That's
because
it.
the same teammate that's telling you how amazing you are and that they can't believe you didn't get called up and yada, 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 they're the same ones telling a coach or somebody else that you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Because they want your spot.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want, not too many people in this dog-eat-dog game want you to do better than them.
No.
And so the same thing goes for managers and coaches, especially when you're not one of them.
That's right.
And so did Bianca get another opportunity? Why isn't Bianca Smith still coaching with MLB? Why wasn't she extended another opportunity with another team? Why didn't, when I went back and I told them, she got played. You guys all got played. Now you're losing a really good coach. And the whole industry, remember, when Bianca got hired, she was plastered all over every news network, and no one has said a peep now that she's gone.
Mm.
So there are currently no black women coaching in MLB.
Mm.
And you can't tell me, I know firsthand there are women who are interested, and there are women who are extremely qualified. So if we don't want to call it racism, if we don't want to call it, label it a systemic issue, if, the powers that be are tired of hearing these things, then tell me what it is.
That's a good question because, you look around, not just baseball, but you hear it about in all sports in terms of not even just women, just the color of our skin and the lack of opportunities. And it seemed like you just on such a short string, a short leash, more so than you see, especially with coaches and with, the constant recycling of guys going around a certain league and getting opportunities and constantly getting checks. But it seems especially when you talk about African Americans and whether it's man or a woman, it seems like the leash is so short, and you get one or two opportunities, then that seems to be it for you.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
You are exactly right. How do we demonstrate such a small? You would think that there's an incredibly small pool of people with the way that certain guys are recycled in this game. Why didn't Dave Stewart get another opportunity?
Yeah.
He built a winning team.
Yes,
he did.
did.
If people look at it, and other owners knew this because there were lots of owners that called David after the whole debacle in Arizona to say you did an incredible job. Because what the fans didn't know and what people don't actually realize is when certain guys, people want to look and say, oh, he got rid of Dansby, or he got rid of this person, or he signed Greinke, or whatever. Let's look at how the decision-making went. If you bring a guy in and you tell him, I need you to unload $100 million off the budget, what is he supposed to do?
There you go.
You feel me? So he did that, but at the same time still built a winning team in 2 years. And until this year, who was the guy that just got let go as a general manager? Until this year, I had not heard about a shorter time frame for a general manager.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So again, we don't have to call it racism. You can call it whatever you want. Just let me know what it is. Because
you can clearly see it, and it's right in our face. Lastly, before we get ready to let you go, talk about some of the work that you're doing within the city of Oakland and your direct relationship with this. What you laughing about?
I'm laughing because my current work within the city of Oakland is giving them hell.
So this seemed to be right on track with where we're going because you're giving hell everywhere.
Giving that city council a friggin' run for their money, excluding Dan Calvin, the two new individuals who were just elected last November. The rest of them, oh, they messed up.
Oh, my goodness.
They messed up for sure.
Oh, they know when Lonnie Murray shows up what it is, huh?
They know what it is.
Shoot. When they probably got me on alerts on Twitter. Ah, shit, he's back on there. But I do have to say this with respect to, like I said, over the last couple of years and what's taken place with David and what's taken place, in the game, what I can say is right now, with the push for expansion and Dave Stewart leading the charge on a diverse ownership group within MLB, that would be a game changer. And I can honestly say, and this isn't a campaign or anything like that, this is genuine, that the support that he has received within MLB has been staggeringly good.
And he's got a great reputation. I had the pleasure of being with him in Arizona when he was general manager. And you are correct on everything you did, because he and I discussed it. And he said, I remember when he took me to the airport and he said, if we fail, everything is going to fall on my shoulder, because I have to make decisions that they're asking me to. I can't tell the public that they're asking me to do it. You got me? So I felt what he was feeling at that point, because, even though Tony La Russa was the president, he was just sitting there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lonnie,
and I love Tony, but that whole situation was bad. That was a bad situation. And you're right, the brothers, he took the fall for it.
Yeah, he told me he was going to be the fall guy. I mean, yeah.
Well, and that's when he started his mood started to change towards the owner.
Yeah.
For those that don't know Stu, it got to a point where he had to tell the owner, because it started jeopardizing his own reputation within the industry.
Right.
You see? Right. Some of the things that he was being asked to do, and he took it to a level, he went further than I would have ever imagined he'd go in doing what he was asked to do. But when it got to a point that it was a couple of other people in the industry like, Stu, this isn't you. What are you doing? He had to step back, because we all lose sight when you're in the eye of the storm. You can't see how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
It takes somebody giving you a reflection to say, bruh, look where you're standing. Look what's wrong. And if he didn't step up, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But everybody's going to see what he does, because he doesn't look like anybody else.
You nailed it, dear.
I love your passion, Lonnie. And if you're just tuning in, that is Lonnie, the voice of Lonnie Murray. She's the first black woman to be certified as a player agent by the MLB Players Association. I love everything that you spoke on, the different areas. And, we talk about it here, especially me and my friend Garrett right here on the board. We in the world of media, and we talk about especially being African Americans in the world of media and how it's so controlled. And I'm not just talking about on-air talent. I'm talking about all the way around. When you look at media groups, media companies, who's the people that's behind it, and how hard it is to move up just having the color of our skin and the necessary rules that you so-called have to follow just because you're black, more so than when you look on the other side. It's not necessarily so many rules and so much put in place to stop the progression for maybe a white person who's in the same field doing the same thing. So I really do enjoy hearing your passion, because on that same front and where you at on that end, we're on that front on this end, as we move up being talented young brothers, but we realize how closed the door is for, African-American males like ourselves, and how you got to work 100 times, 1,000 times harder just to even catch somebody's eye, more so than knowing that you have more talent than everybody that they're giving opportunities to.
Absolutely. But, I want to say this. We have to do better by each other, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? There's been a couple of things. You look at, kudos to Miles, Miles Jack, who just became the new owner of a professional hockey team, right? They plastered that all over everywhere. He is the first black male to be the owner of a hockey team. Not true. Irv Washington not only was the majority owner, but founded the team with me. There have been the media, even in Forbes, they put a young white girl, that had one client, a client she was dating, literally, and put her as the first woman certified by the Major League Baseball Players Association. This was just 3 years ago. ESPN had her on there, and the girl, Sarah Spain talked about how first woman, the only woman representing players. You see?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, again, we've got to do better by each other. I think that you choose representation and, but for all kinds of reasons, I'm not for everybody. I know that. Shoot, everybody ain't for me.
That's it.
I do the interviewing as well. Because if I can't feel right about you, I can't support you. I've already been down that path. I've represented guys I had no business representing.
Mm-hmm.
That made me feel like I was losing a piece of my own integrity. You see?
All money
because
ain't
I'm
good money.
All money ain't good money. And I have to feel good at the end of the day. If I'm going to have a sleepless night, it's going to be because I got a good guy that deserves better.
That's it. I love that.
Yeah.
You stand on something. You have morals and values that you stand on, but you also keeping on the good fight in order to progress. And that's what we can ask for. That's what we're asking for these days. Those are the type of people I like to be around. Those are the type of people I like to have conversations with because you get it and you see it. And that's what makes it hard when you say we have to support each other first and foremost. That's what kind of makes it hard when we look at our community of finding people with those same ideas and values and morals to understand that together we're stronger in numbers. We're stronger together, not individually. And what they say, united. What you say, Coach?
United we go, we stand.
Yeah, and divided we what?
Fall.
There we go. So we got to be able to do that unitedly to make sure that we get together. And you got my support. I have thoroughly enjoyed listening to you, your passion, and having an understanding that you're out there fighting. You're not scared. You don't. Hey.
No. I'm too old to be scared and too feisty to run.
So we were definitely glad to have you on. I don't want you to be a stranger to this show. You have insight and conversation that I think we can have beyond just the game of baseball, that we could talk about life and all type of areas that I'm sure our viewers and our listeners would love to hear because of your insight and your passion. And I love to be able to have you come back and be able to chop it up with Coach and I.
Absolutely. And I do want to say shout out to Amber Sabathia for being the second black woman to be certified by the Major League Baseball Players Association. She's at CAA. I am trying not to hold that against her, but I love her. I support her.
That's great. That's great.
It's been a couple of years now, so really happy and excited for her and see what she does next.
We got to invite you down here to HB. You been to Southern before? Have you been down to Baton Rouge before?
Are you kidding me?
Yes, she's been here.
You can't be in baseball, especially a person of color, a sister or a brother in baseball, and not have been to Southern?
I just wanted to make sure. I say you come down.
Not real if you haven't done that.
Hey, Coach and I, we'll take you to get some red beans and rice or something, Coach.
Whatever she wants to eat, we'll take it.
Okay, all right.
You know what? I had the pleasure of being one of my visits there. I had the pleasure of doing it with Buck O'Neill.
Yes, that's right, Lonnie.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes, we wouldn't have. Yes,
you were here with Buck O'Neill. That's the last time I saw him alive.
That makes me sound hella old now.
We had some fun.
We had a blast.
Oh, my goodness.
With his flirtatious self.
Yes. That Buck O'Neill.
Well,
Well,
Lonnie, we want to say thank you for joining us this morning. If you just tuned in, as the voice of the passionate Miss Lonnie Murray out here getting things done. Nothing like a black woman out here getting it done, man. I love that, and I love the energy. So thank you for coming on. We definitely like to have you back soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you, Lonnie. You're the best, dear.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We'll be back with more Chopping Up with Coach Cador. All right? Stay tuned.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
BRAC implemented the Imagine Your Park strategic plan nearly 20 years ago. The results transformed the park system in East Baton Rouge Parish. There are 12 new community parks, 6 dog parks, Liberty Lagoon Water Park, skateboard parks, fishing ponds, a new conservation area in Central, improved playgrounds, and a growing trail system. It's really a lot to keep track of.
So we decided to give you an insider's peek into some of these amazing new community assets through the eyes of the folks who know them best, BRAC's community partners.
My name is Nathaniel Klung, and I am Paddle BR. What I often say I am is chief doer of stuff. The two things that everyone wanted were paddling and trails, and in our case, paddle trails. And so we did a lot of work to make it so that people could get out on the bayou, but without access points, no one can use them. BRAC has been amazing at building paddle launch sites so that we can get out on the water and enjoy everything that Baton Rouge has to offer. Not only are they listening to everything that Imagine Your Parks and Imagine Your Parks 2 that we asked for, but it's actually getting done, which I don't know about you, but that makes me happy every day of the week.
No wonder BRAC is the recipient of the National Gold Medal by the National Recreation and Parks Association. There really is something about East Baton Rouge and national champions. BRAC, #1 and still getting better.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador and Cador Publishing. You are now watching Choppin' It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. Of course, he's Roger Cador. I'm Perry White, my man on the board gear there. Just we want to thank Lonnie Murray for coming on and talking to us, her passion and just the excitement that she has. You can tell when somebody loves what they do, Coach, because you can hear the excitement that they get up every day, what they say, fighting a good fight.
Oh, yeah, she fights a good fight, and she's been doing it for many years.
Yeah, I love to hear that. How was your weekend, man? How did things go with you this weekend?
Everything went well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty chill? Didn't do much?
Didn't do much, at home. I did watch some football game.
Okay. Who'd you watch this weekend? It was some football to be played. What games did you pay attention to?
I can't remember.
Yeah, just on the TV. TV was watching you.
And I watched baseball, I guess. Yeah, I watched a baseball game, so.
Well, you want to talk about baseball, how things starting to turn out for you when you look at the world of MLB, and now the season has dwindled down to just this?
Well, it's really, it's do or die for Houston or Texas tonight. They play, what is so strange about that particular series is that the visiting team have won all the games.
Mm-hmm.
The home team hadn't won a game yet, so let's see what happens tonight. And then, obviously, Philly and Arizona did a good job. They won 2 or 3 at home. Philly's just so much better than them in terms of with the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Philly will close it out tonight. And we'll see what happens with Houston and Texas.
It was interesting about this. It is the series is tied 3-3. Both teams' overall record is 90-72. It seems like it has just made it to the point to where somebody it's almost even. Somebody has to go.
I mean, this is why you play 162 regular season games,
Mm-hmm.
and then they've played. You count in the playoff games in there too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It really is amazing that they could be so evenly matched. But, that's what it's all about. Texas went out and spent $850 million. That's almost $1 billion, which is unheard of.
That's a lot of money.
That lets you know they have the money and they're trying to win.
Mm-hmm. Is this good, especially, I guess, for the game of baseball when you look at 2 Texas teams, and this is basically seems like it's Dallas versus Houston for it all. What do you like about that overall to see that these 2 are right there knocking at the door?
Well, it shows that they've done what it takes to be successful. I saw an interview with Reggie Jackson yesterday. I didn't see it all, but I caught enough to understand. Derek Jeter, Big Papi, Alex Rodriguez, and then the host.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie said, he talked to Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. He said, when he was with the Yankees, y'all were with the Yankees, he said, there was no inclusion in some things that were going on because the Yankees was racist. That's what he was saying. He said with Houston, Jim Crane, the owner, is inclusive. He brought in me. He allowed me to make decisions. He hired a black president or general manager.
Mm-hmm.
And he said 6 people he interviewed, they all were, 4 out of the 6 were minorities. And he said, that's the kind of thing is. And he said, this man understands the city. Houston is 40% Hispanic and black.
Mm-hmm.
And you need people in charge that look like that. And many of the players are Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to communicate and have your community be able to look at the team and say, they look like me.
That's it. And
that really made so much sense. But I always knew George Steinbrenner was racist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. He wasn't, he hired Bob Watson to be the general manager one year, and he damn near killed him, and he ended up dying, and they won the World Series. But he never wanted a black man. They never wanted too many black ball players.
Yeah.
So there it is.
I saw something that was quite funny with Dusty. They said he brought his flowers out of his office and brought them down to the dugout, said they needed some sunlight before the game. I thought that shows some personality. They was like, having a guy with some personality and winning games, and it just seems like he's having fun while doing it.
Well, yes, he is. And, he and I talk quite often, and, he's having – this has been a great run toward the end of his career.
Do you think he will go down as the best black baseball? I would call it coach, but I know there's so many different terms. But he will go down as the greatest African American to lead a team in baseball MLB history.
I don't see why. I'm a friend of Cito Gaston. It seemed like Cito and we played together with the Braves, so. And so I know him well, and he won 2 championships with Toronto, back to back, and so Nobody else have won other than he. Well, Dave Robert did, and I think that's it. I don't think any other African American manager have won. Am I correct?
You may know more than me.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
because they hadn't had many manage, and G's agreeing with me. He knows the game, and so it's. Dusty is not looking for that to go down as the greatest.
And I'm not saying he is, but just, as a fan of the game, watching to see this black man with success. And it's like every year Houston is there. Even when they had those issues, some years back of all the scandals or whatever, they still found success. Most times you see a program or organization kind of go down after something, but to continue to be right there in the mix every year, knocking on the door of a World Series.
This is 7 years in a row. You know how hard that is in the time of free agency? And all the free agencies they've lost. They lost the outfielder with Toronto, leadoff hitter. They lost the pitcher, Cole. They lost Carrera. I mean, you can't lose those people and be successful.
Yeah.
And look how many injuries they had to their pitching staff. And they still hung in there.
Still hanging in there. All right, we got to hang it in and take a break. But
Stringer is the guy named who.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Stringer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll get ready to close this thing out. Stay tuned. More Chopping It Up with Coach Cador, all right?
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
BRAC implemented the Imagine Your Park strategic plan nearly 20 years ago. The results transformed the park system in East Baton Rouge Parish. There are 12 new community parks, 6 dog parks, Liberty Lagoon Water Park, skateboard parks, fishing ponds, a new conservation area in Central, improved playgrounds, and a growing trail system. It's really a lot to keep track of.
So we decided to give you an insider's peek into some of these amazing new community assets through the eyes of the folks who know them best, BRAC's community partners.
My name is Nathaniel Klum, and I am Paddle BR. What I often say I am is chief doer of stuff. The two things that everyone wanted were paddling and trails, and in our case, paddle trails. And so we did a lot of work to make it so that people could get out on the bayou, but without access points, no one can use them. BRAC has been amazing at building paddle launch sites so that we can get out on the water and enjoy everything that Baton Rouge has to offer. Not only are they listening to everything that Imagine Your Parks and Imagine Your Parks 2 that we asked for, but it's actually getting done, which I don't know about you, but that makes me happy every day of the week.
No wonder BRAC is the recipient of the National Gold Medal by the National Recreation and Parks Association. There really is something about East Baton Rouge and national champions. BRAC, #1 and still getting better.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador and Cador Publishing. You are now watching Choppin' It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. I'm Perry White. He's Roger Cador, and my man on the board, Garrett Edgerson. Good morning to everybody out there listening and watching. Good morning to Edwin Moore. He's always fun in the chat, keeping up, being able to have a conversation with us. And want to thank Lonnie Murray for coming on this morning and having great convo with us. Love to have her back, her passion and excitement for what she does. It was good to have that type of conversation this morning, Coach.
Oh, yes, especially for you.
Yeah.
You love it.
Oh, yeah.
It was right up your alley.
Right up my alley, because I like people who are genuinely themselves, and I know in this day and age, you're starting to see the world of politically correct is starting to become the yesteryears. People are starting to love just the realness of conversations, whether you cuss, whether you don't, but just people want to hear the real. People are tired of hearing the politically correct. And I think you really can understand that when you look at the world of where people get information at these days. You talk about the podcast, you're talking about the world of YouTube, social media, and you're starting to see people dwindle from waiting on having to get news and information and source from just the ESPNs of the world or the ABCs of the world. It's like they like that package deal, but people like to get on here and you Roger Cador just keeping it 100 about what life is really like, instead of saying, well, I'm scared to maybe piss somebody off, so let me no, you don't do that. Lonnie didn't do that. I don't do that. And people love to hear that type of conversation because people want the real. Would you say that, G? People want the real these days. That's what they look for. So it was good to have her on, especially being able to have that conversation back and forth. And I say that because especially when we start to talk about race in America, when we start to talk about different avenues that in 2023, we're still talking about trying to break barriers. Right? We're still talking about trying to get into doors and trying to open doors for a community that, as much as the world as we look around and says, well, everybody is on the same footing, we find out when you start to really peel back the layers, we're actually not.
And it was even, I pretty much allow you to carry it on because this was a good interview for you. Mm-hmm. Being a young man, interviewing her, you had your information you needed, questions you wanted to ask, and it carried on quite well, and I like that, the flow that the interview went. So that's one of the beauties of having someone like you who are trying to get better and move forward in life, and you were able to share that with her, that it's not easy for people who look like you and are young. The opportunities aren't readily available. And I feel that's one of the reasons I pretty much chose you, because I figured you could elevate yourself and go to the next level sometime in the near future.
One of the hardest things, and I think G can attest to it, is we deal with a lot of gatekeeping. And if you, it really is, like, especially to be black and talking about wanting, because I tell people all the time, it's not like I don't want to work. I want to work hard, and I don't stop. I push. G does the same thing. And you can only imagine the conversations. I could say probably what, G, almost 5-6 years ago when G and I first was kind of getting going and we collaborated, and we would just sit on the phone for hours and just say, what is it, our consistency, our hard work, we're showing people what we're capable of. And the very community of people that you think could see that consistent hard work that you think would open the door was the very community that was like, hey, let me get you for nothing. Hey, do all this work and I'll give you 25 cents. But, hey, I love what you do. I love everything you got going on. But then, it was just like, gee, what do we do? How do we, get over that hurdle? How do we get over the hump? And I just said, I think between us as we continue to conversate was just keep pushing, just keep working. And don't sit back and wait, because what people would do, Coach, and what, like she said, everybody ain't for you.
That's right.
What we started to realize was people wanted you to do things simply for what they wanted. And what you realized was it'll hamper your growth because it'll only be in the realm of where they wanted you to go and not necessarily where the possibilities could take you.
And we will want you to go where the possibilities can take you. And I understand there are going to be gatekeepers everywhere you go to a large extent.
Mm-hmm.
People just protecting territory and keeping people from advancing, if possible. It's people like that. I ran into a bunch of them all my life.
Yeah.
And still run into them. It don't matter now.
Mm-hmm.
But they do exist. So you just work through them and wear them out. Wear them down.
G, would you say you wearing them out? You running through them? Yeah, he is, man. Listen, he can't go nowhere. I'll never forget, Coach. We were in Atlanta some years back, 2015, I want to say, for the Celebration Bowl. And G and I were on the sideline, and we were walking. And this guy walked up to G. He said, you may not know me, but I know you. You got a birthday coming up, or you just had a birthday. And I was like, gee, how the hell this dude know that? But it just lets you know, no matter where you go, people watch your work. And I think especially nowadays, people really see the work that he puts out and that we do together. But it's just creating that people can see the value. I don't know why when people watch what you do, the hard part is putting the value to it. They don't think there's a value to what you do. I love it is what they say. Man, you're doing great work. What you do is amazing. But then when you put a value to it, they like, well, I don't think it is supposed to cost that. I don't think shouldn't be anything to it. And that's been one of the hardest parts of growing, especially as a business owner and young black males, showing our worth, but then especially within our own community, putting value and saying, these brothers ain't out here causing no trouble, Coach. These brothers are working hard. And guess what? They're trying to do the best that they can, and they're doing the best. You got to put some value to it to understand that, hey, it ain't free. And the work and the time, especially that this dude sit behind, and the concepts and the mind that he has, and, the bouncing off the wall that we do of ideas, man, look, that comes with value. And I tell people all the time, just because you see a finished product or you see us sitting, you don't know the work that goes on once the cameras and the lights off, right? The thought process, the creative ideas that have to go into it before something is even there. The same way like a coach. People don't go to practice. People don't give a damn about watching practice. They only care about when the game day comes and seeing what the product is on game day. They don't care about the value of what it takes for you to wake a team up, to get up bright and early, to stretch and to warm up and then get out there and hit 100 balls and field 100 balls and then have to go watch film and whatever else that you do. They don't care about that, so they lose the value in that. They only think about the game day. And I think it's the same way when you look at the world of kind of what we do. They don't give a damn about practice. What he said, practice? They don't care about it. They just want to see the finished product, and then when they see it, they think because, and I know you probably dealt with this, the amount of success begins to look easy, and then because it looks easy, now I think anybody can do it.
Yes, that's what it is. You nailed it on the head. It looks easy, and they think that everyone could do it. Same thing when I raised a lot of money. They thought it was easy. Until I left. Then it was easy. When I left, they found out how uneasy it was.
Yeah.
So, it happens all the time.
Yeah. And it's life, like you said, just the way you did and the way we do. Against all odds, you just got to keep pushing.
Right.
And hope for that big break. So, that's all it is.
It'll happen without you even knowing.
Yeah.
But you just got to be consistent, keep going at it every day, trying to get better, okay?
And that's why I keep my eyes, I'm open, ready for the blessings that come down on me. All right. Well, thank everybody for tuning in this morning, man. It is a pleasure to have you guys support. Hit that subscribe button right there underneath this video. Get a chance to get that notification every time we go live. And, of course, we always love the fact of the support. I know people don't necessarily get a chance to watch live, but they do go back and watch after the fact. And so we love to have you guys as supporters and subscribers. It is free. It costs nothing. We don't need your Social Security number. We don't need your routing number. We don't even need your Cash App name. We don't need none of that. We just need your support and your love by hitting that subscribe button and getting that notification and just clicking and sharing with friends and family and whoever else would love to hear these conversations as we continue to do this week in and week out. Coach, you got anything coming up this week?
No. Next week, yes. And the week after, yes.
Okay, well, we'll be talking about that next week. So on behalf of myself, Perry White, Coach Roger Cador, I'm a man on the board, Garrett Edgerton. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to catch you next week. Coach, get us out of here.
G never lets me know.